He earned $1 billion in a single day. He's been called a puppet master, a genius, a threat to democracy, and a savior of economies. With $32 billion in donations, George Soros remains one of the most mysterious figures in global finance. But who is he, really? George Soros, the Hungarian-born investor who survived Nazi occupation before becoming one of history's most successful financiers, polarizes public opinion unlike any other billionaire. While some praise his enormous philanthropy and defense of democracy, others see him as manipulating global politics from the shadows. The problem? Most people know only the headlines, not the strategic moves and lesser-known truths behind his immense influence. Welcome to Top 10 Facts Club, where we uncover the stories behind today's most powerful figures. We're counting down from 10 to 1, so stick around because secret number 1 reveals the financial move that changed global markets forever and earned Soros his most infamous nickname. Don't miss it. Secret number 10. The Nazi hunter who became hunted. He escaped the Nazis as a child, only to be branded one decades later by conspiracy theorists. In 1944, 14-year-old George Schwartz, later known as George Soros, hid in a Budapest cellar while Nazi death squads rounded up Hungary's Jews. Born to a non-observant Jewish family, Soros survived the Holocaust through forged identity papers procured by his father Tivadar, who changed their surname to the less Jewish-sounding Soros, Hungarian for Sor. For months, young George posed as the Christian godson of a government official, even accompanying him on bureaucratic tasks that included cataloging confiscated Jewish property. A brief episode later twisted into false claims of Nazi collaboration. Decades later, far-right groups circulated a photo falsely labeling Soros as an SS officer. The image actually depicted Oskar Groening, the accountant of Auschwitz. Conspiracy theorists claim Soros enjoyed the Holocaust, despite him being a child during the occupation and losing 75% of Hungary's Jewish population to genocide. The ADL notes these smears recycle anti-Semitic tropes of the disloyal Jew, weaponizing Soros's survival story to paint him as a shadowy manipulator. Soros outran Hitler's death machine, but couldn't escape the lies of those who'd resurrect his trauma for political sabotage. Secret number 9. The Philosopher's investment strategy. He turned a philosophy thesis into a $30 billion fortune and broke economics forever. While studying at the London School of Economics in the 1950s, Soros became obsessed with philosopher Karl Popper's concept of the open society. But his real breakthrough came when he applied Popper's ideas to finance, developing the theory of reflexivity, the notion that market prices don't reflect reality, but actively distort it through investor biases. Unlike traditional economists who assumed rational markets, Soros argued that perceptions create self-fulfilling prophecies. If investors believe a currency will crash, their collective bets make it crash. He tested this in 1992 by shorting the British pound, earning $1 billion in a day as the UK government abandoned the European exchange rate mechanism. By 2011, his quantum fund had generated a 30% average annual return, turning a $12 million seed into $25 billion. Critics called it luck. But Soros insisted reflexivity explained everything from the 2008 crash to cryptomanias. As he quipped in 2023, markets are always wrong, but you can get rich by knowing how they're wrong. While Wall Street worshipped numbers, Soros profited from the one variable they ignored: human delusion. Secret number 8. Operation Photocopier, the Cold War's paper revolution. He toppled regimes not with guns, but with Xerox machines. In 1984, Soros launched a subversive campaign against Soviet-backed regimes, flooding Eastern Europe with photocopiers. Under the guise of cultural grants, his Hungarian foundation distributed over 1,000 machines to libraries, universities, and dissident groups, bypassing state censorship. At the time, communist governments tightly controlled printing to suppress samizdat, underground literature. A single photocopier could reproduce banned texts, from Solzhenitsyn's Gulag Archipelago to pro-democracy pamphlets, 50 times faster than typewriters. By 1989, these machines had become engines of revolution. In Poland, solidarity activists used Soros-funded copiers to print strike bulletins. In Hungary, they circulated mock ballots for the first free elections. A 1991 CIA report noted the campaign accelerated the collapse of authoritarian control by an estimated 3 to 5 years. For the price of a few copiers, Soros gave dissidents a weapon no KGB agent could confiscate: the power to spread truth. Secret number 7. The Rothschilds Rivalry. Soros versus the original banking dynasty. One controls headlines, the other built empires in silence. But what happens when old money meets the new disruptor? For decades, the Rothschild family symbolized global banking power. Old European wealth so entrenched, conspiracy theorists linked them to the Illuminati. Then came George Soros, a Holocaust survivor, outsider, and financial disruptor who didn't just play the game, he broke it. In the 1990s, Soros's high-profile currency attacks rattled traditionalists. Unlike the discreet Rothschilds who operated through diplomatic ties, Soros thrived on chaos. His billion-dollar gamble on Black Wednesday humiliated the Bank of England, something no Rothschild would ever risk. British tabloids called him the man who broke the pound, while the Rothschilds distanced themselves from his disruptive methods. The rivalry was more than financial, it was philosophical. The Rothschilds funded monarchies and stability. Soros backed revolutions and regime change. While one family toasted kings, Soros armed dissidents with photocopiers and protest guides. Rumors suggested the Rothschilds backed politicians to curb Soros's influence. Hungarian media even hinted that Viktor Orban's anti-Soros crusade was encouraged by competing globalist factions, elite banking dynasties uncomfortable with Soros's aggressive transparency. Ironically, the two titans nearly crossed paths at Rothschild Asset Management in the 1970s, but Soros chose to go rogue with Quantum Fund, rewriting the billionaire playbook forever. The Rothschilds built the system. Soros hacked it, and then used the blueprint to spark revolutions. Secret number 6. Education Rebellion. How Soros weaponized universities against authoritarians. He didn't just teach rebellion, he built institutions to mass produce it. While most billionaires build legacies through foundations or buildings named after them, George Soros created factories of dissent. In 1991, as communism crumbled across Eastern Europe, Soros founded Central European University, CEU, in Budapest, not to teach capitalism, but to spread critical thinking, transparency, and civil rights. Dictators called it ideological sabotage. Soros called it future-proofing democracy. CEU encouraged students to question authority, audit governments, and spot propaganda, exactly what Hungary's authoritarian regime despised. In 2018, Hungary passed Lex CEU, a law targeting the university, forcing Soros to move it to Vienna. Thousands of students protested, chanting, "We won't be erased." In 2020, at 90 years old, Soros launched his boldest initiative, the Open Society University Network, OSUN. With a $1 billion donation, he connected 45 institutions worldwide, from Uganda to Arizona State, to create a global resistance classroom. Courses like digital activism in Belarus and decolonizing public health train students in modern protest, policy, and propaganda. Conservatives call OSUN a woke indoctrination machine. Soros counters, if truth-telling is radical, then the world needs more radicals. By 2024, OSUN had educated over 50,000 students, many from war zones, marginalized groups, or censored societies. While strong men build walls, Soros builds classrooms, arming the next generation with ideas more dangerous than bullets. Next, secrets number 5 to number 1 will expose Soros's billion-dollar bet against Britain, his drug policy crusade, and why he's given away 64% of his wealth. Stay tuned. Secret number 5. Breaking the Bank of England. He made $1 billion in one day and collapsed an empire's currency doing it. On September 16, 1992, forever known as Black Wednesday, George Soros executed the boldest trade in financial history. Betting against the British pound, he borrowed £10 billion and sold it for German marks, exploiting the UK's unsustainable commitment to the European Exchange Rate Mechanism, ERM. As panic spread, the Bank of England spent £27 billion in reserves, trying to prop up the pound, hiking interest rates to 15% in desperation. By nightfall, the UK abandoned the ERM, and Soros pocketed $1 billion in profits, earning him the nickname the man who broke the Bank of England. Critics called it economic terrorism, but Soros defended the move. Markets aren't moral, they're mechanisms. The trade exposed the fragility of fixed exchange rates, reshaping global finance. By 2023, hedge funds still study this playbook, with Citadel's Ken Griffin calling it the Everest of trades. Soros didn't just profit from chaos. He proved that even empires bow to market forces. Secret number 4, the drug policy revolutionary. He spent $200 million to end the war on drugs, then helped erase 800,000 criminal records. In 1994, as America's tough-on-crime policies filled prisons, Soros launched a quiet revolution. Funding ballot initiatives in California and Arizona, he backed the first medical marijuana laws, defying federal crackdowns. By 2020, his Open Society foundations had spent $200 million decriminalizing drugs globally. From Oregon's psilocybin therapy push to Portugal's groundbreaking harm reduction model, Soros's strategy targeted racial justice. Black Americans are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana, despite similar usage rates. His 2018 funding helped legalize cannabis in Michigan and Missouri, erasing 800,000 criminal records. Critics, like former DEA chief Peter Bensinger, claimed he normalized addiction, but Soros fired back. Caging people for drugs is the real crime. While politicians built prisons, Soros built exits, proving reform isn't just policy, it's survival. Secret number 3, the political chess player. He didn't just fund democracy, he checkmated authoritarians in 100 countries. Since 2004, Soros has funneled $60 million into U.S. elections, but his real power lies in global grassroots networks. His $18 billion Open Society foundations fund pro-democracy groups like Burma's National League for Democracy and Ukraine's Maidan protesters. In 2022, he spent $125 million supporting U.S. midterm candidates focused on voting rights, a move Elon Musk called a threat to democracy. The strategy: seed local movements early. In Georgia, his $5 million investment in 2012 voter registration led to Stacey Abrams's 2018 governor run. In Hungary, Viktor Orban blames Soros for anti-government protests, even passing a Stop Soros law in 2018 to block his NGOs. Soros plays the long game, funding pawns today to checkmate authoritarians tomorrow. Secret number 2, the Open Society mission. He turned philosophy into a 120-country strategy for battling tyranny. His life's work wasn't about money. It was about resurrecting a philosopher's 80-year-old idea. In 1945, philosopher Karl Popper published The Open Society and Its Enemies, arguing that no ideology, communism, fascism, or even unchecked capitalism, should escape scrutiny. Soros, who attended Popper's lectures at the London School of Economics, built his $32 billion empire to turn this theory into action. The Open Society foundations now operate in 120 countries, funding everything from Ukraine's anti-corruption courts to Ghana's LGBTQ+ clinics. In Popper's mantra, "We must plan for freedom," guides Soros's bets, whether backing anti-Putin journalists or Bolivia's indigenous land rights activists. Critics like Tucker Carlson dismiss it as globalist meddling, but Soros retorts, closed societies fear questions, open societies thrive on them. Soros didn't just read philosophy, he turned it into a weapon against tyranny. Secret 1, the ultimate philanthropist. He built his legacy by giving away. He gave away 64% of his fortune, and no one noticed until it was too late. In 2023, Forbes revealed Soros had donated $32 billion, 64% of his peak net worth, surpassing Gates, 27%, and Buffett, 44% in percentage terms. Unlike traditional philanthropy, his giving targeted systemic change: $15 billion to education, $8 billion to justice reform, and $3 billion to refugee crises. His $500 million Democracy PAC backs prosecutors like Kim Foxx, who ended cash bail in Chicago, while $1.5 billion funds scholarships for 30,000 Roma students in Europe. Even in his 90s, Soros accelerated giving, transferring $18 billion to Open Society in 2022 alone. As he told The Guardian, money is power, but only if you surrender it. Soros didn't just donate billions, he proved wealth's true value lies in letting it go. And he rewrote the rules of giving forever. George Soros survived Nazis, toppled currencies, and outsmarted dictators, all while giving away 2/3 of his wealth. Love him or loathe him, his life proves one truth. Ideas, not armies, change the world. But the biggest secret? You've only seen the beginning. Which Soros secret shocked you most? Smash like, subscribe, and debate below. And watch more billionaire mysteries on our channel, which you were never told. Click now before they're gone.